All right, I think we finished discussing this part here already, right? So let's just move on to the next part here straight away, boys and girls. Okay, guys, if you look at this question here, right, there is obviously a trick to this question now, right? If you look at the question, it says that a block is made from a particular type of glass. Okay, I don't know what glass it is, but it is glass lah. Figure 6.1 shows light passing from air into the glass block. This is from air into the glass block here. Using the information in 6.1, they ask you to calculate the refractive index. So this is the first thing they want from you lah. They want the refractive index of the light in this type of glass. Now, looking at this information here, I'm given this angle and I'm also given this angle here. Obviously, I'm supposed to use the which formula again? Good. I'm supposed to use the n equals to sine I over sine r formula here. Right. So my first question is, which one is the I and which one is the r? Sorry? Sorry? Okay, the I is in the air and then the glass is obviously the R. So how much is the I? Is it 29? It's supposed to be 61, guys. Why? A lot of students, some of you guys online might have did this as well, guys, but you have to always understand that. Melvin, hurry up, sit down. Okay, you have to understand that the angle is always, I've mentioned this many times, are always with reference to the. Melvin, you can sit in front here. I've saved my favorite spot for you. Come, sit down. Hurry up. Or here also can? Yeah. Yes, please sit down. All right. It's always with reference with the angle, sorry, with the normal, guys. And in this scenario here, it is obviously supposed to be sine 61 over sine 33 here. And if you press that into your calculator, you will have gotten, how much would you have gotten? Sorry? 1.6. Is that correct? I don't know. I don't know the calculation. I don't have a calculator, guys, but if you press this in your calculator, you should get something right now. Very good, Melvin. I'm glad you have attempted the questions as well. You're supposed to get somewhere around 1.61 now if you did the calculation properly. Okay. Then from here, the next part, they ask you to find the critical angle for light traveling in this glass, which obviously you're supposed to use the 1 over sine C formula, right? And in this case here, since you already have the refractive index, right, your calculation will be 1.61 is equals to 1 over sine C. And in this case here, your sine C would have been equals to your 1 over 1.61, which ultimately will lead you to C is equals to shift sine 1 over 1.61. What the hell are you doing in that room? All right, say that faster. What? Tell me what's the reason? Say that faster. Shut up. This whole table I give you, use this. Right, and from there, you're supposed to get an angle of somewhere around 38.5 or something. I don't know. But if you press it on a calculator, you have gotten something similar like this. Right? Everyone managed to get this, right? Very straightforward as well. Then after that, the next question here is the exact same replica of what we did last week, guys, indicating how important the endoscope is, guys. In this next question here, they say state one application of optical fiber. Draw, this time they ask you, not you may draw, they ask you draw a diagram to show how an optical fiber is used in this application here. You could have drawn either two, either number one, the endoscope, which is yet again the one that shoved down your throat to view your internal organs, or number two, which is your optical fibers, which is the one that connects to the internet to your computer, right? But ultimately, if you drew the same thing, you know, the Pac-Man story all over again, this one here, right? If you drew the same Pac-Man story and you've written down endoscopes are used to view internal organs for keyhole surgeries, you would have gotten your mark as well, guys. Okay, so this is very, very important. Like I mentioned last week, endoscopes are always asked in terms of optical fiber, because there's only two ways they could ask you about optical fibers, right? Which is either number one, the endoscope, or the optical fibers that is connected to your internet. Okay, so I don't want to rewrite the answers again. You can You can do it at home for yourself later on. Let's move on to the next part here. Okay. Then from here, this last part, before we move on to the next chapter here. I see some of you guys did not do it. Guys, what does the question want from you on figure 8.2? Show a light ray in the air incident to the interface with glass. The refractive index is 1.5. This is the first useful information they give you. Then after that, on figure, this is not in your book, by the way. Is it in your? It's not in your book, right? Yeah. On figure 8.2, accurately draw, the word accurately draw the rays as it travels in the glass. You may need to take measurements from 8.2 and carry out the appropriate calculation. Show your working. Guys, you should have used the protractor, right? And what you need to do is you need to place the protractor here, and you're supposed to measure what this angle is, which most likely will be somewhere around 35 degrees, I assume, if you did the calculation, right? You're supposed to get an angle of somewhere around here of 35 degrees. Then you're given the refractive index of 1.5. You are supposed to calculate the angle here. But before you calculate the angle, let me ask you this, guys. Will the angle in the glass be more or less than 35 degrees? Will the angle in the glass be more or less than 35 degrees, guys? Rachel? More or less? More? Why? Because the light is traveling faster in the glass. Which one is traveling faster? Light is traveling faster in air or glass? Air, good. And if air is faster, it means to say the speed of light in glass is slower. If the speed of light is slower in glass, it should bend closer to the normal. You get what I mean? Right. So by right, anything, if you calculated any angle here that is more than 35, you are for sure wrong, right? Don't need to do your calculation. Something is wrong in your formula. You should get an angle that is much smaller than 35 degrees because it is bending towards the normal, guys. The light should be bending towards the normal. From here, what you're supposed to do is you're yet again supposed to employ the n equals to sine I over sine r formula, right? And they already give you the refractive index is 1.5, the incident angle is 35, and you're actually looking for your r. Okay? But you should have done the measurements with the protractor and compass and whatever. What do you mean you don't have? You don't have the set square thing yet, man? You should have done it at home. But anyways, the calculation here would have been sine r is equals to sine 35 over 1.5, and then your r would be just a shift sign, yet again, sine 35 over 1.5. Press everything into the calculator, and you would have gotten r somewhere around 20 degrees. I don't know, 22? Yeah, probably 22. If you press the calculator, you have gotten 22 degrees. Can someone confirm this? 22.5. Yeah, somewhere around there. Well, guys, please do your working, and then let's move on to the next part already. Oh, thank you. Okay, guys, once you're done with the calculation here, Once you're done with the calculation here, let's move on to the next part. Who else didn't get this? Was it you or you? Chen, was it you or you? Do you have this part? After this page, do you have anything? No, after that. Oh, Abigail, you have it, right? For this lens. Okay, guys, on to the calculation now. Anyone has any questions with this part here? Anyone couldn't get the calculation? Please voice up now. We are moving on to the next chapter already if there's no questions. Okay, good, 100%. Now, by the way, oh my God, Leo, did I send this to you already? Wait, let me check. Leo, can you check and see if you have this page here? Let me see if I've sent this to you.
I've printed out.
Oh, okay, nice. All right. All right. Moving on to the next part here. All right. This is essentially the final part of the light wave chapter, guys. Next week, if we finish this early, probably next week, we'll be moving on to the electromagnetic waves already, guys. So yeah, let me give you a quick introduction of what you're supposed to know. I think some of your school teachers have already taught you this chapter, but in your syllabus, when we're talking about lens, the only thing that they'll be asking is going to be converging lens. If your school is teaching about diverging lens, it's not in your syllabus, so you can ignore everything from here. Okay. Moving on to this chapter here, basically you're supposed to understand how the light rays are going to behave in the lens. And in order to understand how the light rays are going to behave in the lens, you first have to know the most basic lens of them all, which all of us have, which is supposed to be the lens from your eyes. You know, like some people, why some people they have to wear glasses and some people they don't, right? The reason why some people have to wear glasses and some people don't is because of how the light rays are supposed to behave in the inside of their eyes. For people with perfect vision, right, when the light rays enter their eyes, what's going to happen is the lens in front of our eyes is actually going to converge the light rays to exactly the back of our eyeballs, right? So with perfect vision, your light rays are supposed to behave something like this. It will converge exactly at the back of your eye, and that is when you will see perfect vision, right? But everyone else that is wearing glasses, which is more than 50% of the population, how will the light ray behave? The light rays will go something like this. They will either converge in front of the eye or they will converge behind the eye here. They will converge behind the eye here. And because they converge in front of the eye and behind your eye, this leads to short-sightedness or long-sightedness. You know, like older people, when they look at their phones, they have to see from like this angle here, you know, like, I don't know if you guys have grandparents that do this or not. They usually hold their phone like this one. Because seriously, if they put it like this, right, they cannot see the light rays are not hitting at the back of the eye. So they'll purposely move the thing very, very far and then they'll look it like this. And then the fonts on their phone is like huge as hell, right? This is because the light rays are converging anywhere else besides the back of their eyeball, okay? Now, if let's say today I have people that have light rays converging at the back of the eyes, obviously what we'll require corrective eye surgery. Corrective eye, what's the term called again? Corrective eye, shit, I can't remember, but it's just a setup. I can't remember, I'm having mental block right now. But it's basically your lens are supposed to help you converge the eyes, the light rays back to the back of your eyes again. So let's, for example, say this is long-sightedness, right? If today you wear all the glasses here, if let's say you have another glasses here, what's going to happen is, right, this will actually cause the light rays to bend differently again. And when they bend differently, depending on the power of your lens as well, this will actually cause the light rays to yet again bend towards the back of your eye. And yet again, you'll have perfect vision again. So that's why every time you wear your glasses, you see everything very clearly. No glasses, then it's blur, clear, blur, clear, blur, clear, blur, clear, blur. It's basically like full HD and blurred out vision, right? Basically, if you play with this lens in this projector here, it will be the exact same thing as well. Guys, if you were to tilt one of the things at the top there, you'll see that this thing will become blurred. You can't, it just like, no, not this one, the other one. Yeah. The other one front. Yeah, this one here. Yeah. No, this one. The other one in between here. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, guys, we're having technical difficulties right now. It was supposed to be this one here, right? But right now, okay. So if you tilt the thing right, left and right, you'll see that it becomes blur like this. Or for those who cannot see, oh God, you probably won't be able to see this well. Yeah, if you tilt it left and right, you'll see that the image is going to go between sharp and not sharp here, right? Why will it become sharp and not sharp here? Is because at this point now, when the image is blur like this, right? What's happening is the light rays are actually converging like this. Okay, and when it converges like this, right? Now obviously the whole image is going to be blurred lah. But if you tilt the thing more and more, you see like right now the words are very clear, right? It's because the light rays are hitting exactly at this back of the screen here, right? And that is the reason why you can see the clearer images. Okay, so all this corrective eyewear is just a apparatus or a setup for you to have the light rays converge at the proper point of time, of the proper point of the location. Okay, so having said that, you know, if you look at these statements here, statement number 1, lenses are widely used in spectacles, cameras, and projectors, like this one here, right? And many other optical instruments. A lens can be thought of a set of blocks of prisms that is basically converging the light rays to hit exactly at one particular spot. Usually, once we identify where that particular spot is, we will put a screen here so that we will have a perfect, clear image. We'll have a perfect, clear image onto the screen here. Right, and that's why if you put the projector a little bit further back, it won't be as clear anymore. And you put it closer, it won't be as clear anymore. But when you tilt that adjustment thing, right, it can be clear and blur yet again. Okay, so for converging lenses, parallel light rays are brought to the focus of exactly a certain point. Right, this point here is where we call the focal point. This point here, guys, is what we call the focal point. By definition, guys, this is a very important term. By definition, the focal point is where all the light rays are supposed to converge. Eugene, kind of why you have a proper setup here, but you like to write on your chair instead. There's a perfectly big table here just ready for you. You're crazy, insane, some might even say. Okay, so yeah, this is supposed to be how a converging lens causes the light to behave, and this is how a diverging lens is supposed to behave. But since it's not in your syllabus, you don't need to know a single thing about it. Okay, next thing you need to know is basically labeling the important parts of each and every one of these lenses here, guys. Now, if today I have a lens here, right? This is what we call the principal axis. The principal axis is basically cutting the lens into half in the horizontal position, right? And each and every one of these lenses are actually supposed to have a normal as well, guys. Hey, don't copy first, so pay attention here. Look here, guys. The words are not going to go away. I'm going to give you time to copy as well. But later, if you don't hear it, you're going to like, huh? What's this? Pay attention. All right, so from here, you're supposed to understand that if the light rays if the principal focus cuts it horizontally and the normal cuts it vertically, right? Wherever this middle is, guys, this is actually what we call the optical center. As the name suggests, it is basically the center of the optical object, right? It is exactly the middle of the lens here, right? The next thing is basically the principal axis. The principal axis is the line of axis of the lens. In short, it basically cuts the lens into half. This is what we call the principal axis. The focal point, like I mentioned just now, is this point here, is where all the light rays are supposed to converge. The focal point is where all light rays are supposed to converge. People with perfect vision will have a focal point exactly at the back of their eyes. And then obviously the focal length, which is a very important statement here, guys. For some reason, a lot of students always get this wrong. I absolutely do not understand why, but by definition, guys, the focal length is the distance between the optical center and the focal point. So if this is the optical center and this is the focal point, right, then naturally this is your focal length. for some reason, right? This seems dumb and straightforward, right? But I've seen thousands of students, not thousands, probably a few of the students here, they always get this wrong, guys. I want you to remember this. This is very important. It is 3 marks and it is always asked in your IGCSE. The focal length is always from the center to the focal point, not the center to the object, not the center to the image or whatever. Focal length is from the center to the focal point. In fact, later on, there will be a question here. If I see any of you guys get this wrong, I will walk up to you and physically abuse you one by one. All right. So yeah, can you copy everything down from here real quick? And after that, it's going to be a drawing day, guys. It's going to be a drawing day. Okay, done. Then again, stop sleeping onto the wall. Wake up, focus, pay attention. Okay, so moving on to the next part here. This is basically supposed to be the characteristics of the converging lens. These characteristics will usually describe the image produced due to the lens. Okay, the image produced will either be real or virtual. It will be magnified or diminished, upright or inverted. What do I mean by that? I copy this down first. I'll show you some diagrams later. Copy this down first. Okay, once you're done drawing, once you're done copying this, flip to the next page and you'll know exactly what I'm going to be talking about here. Now, if you look at this box, these boxes here, right? This is essentially how the questions in your exams are going to ask you, guys. In your exam, most of the time, you know, like how just now I showed you that most light rays are supposed to behave like this, right? In most certain scenarios, but in your IGCSE syllabus, the light rays will rarely be asked to be drawn like this. In fact, the light rays will be drawn like this instead. Now, it looks confusing as hell because there's a lot of lenses here and then there's a lot of light rays and you don't know what's going on. But I can tell you, all these pictures that you see here, right? You only need to focus on a few only. You need to focus on this one, this one, this one, and also this one here, which are the most commonly asked questions in your IGCSEs. So how will the structure of the question be like? Usually there will be something like this here. Oh, can you just like put some stars on this? Just put some stars on this, then after I'll show you how the question will be like. Okay, so usually if let's say they ask you about lenses, right, it'll be somewhere along these lines here. Okay, they will usually have the principal axis, which is exactly the middle, right, and then they'll have a lens somewhere around here. Okay, they have a lens somewhere around here, and obviously that's going to be a normal, right? Then they'll say that, okay, right now today there is an object here. This is the object. Okay, there is an object here. Draw 2 light rays to locate the position of the image. You are supposed to find where the image is. Okay, if you're asked to draw the 2 light rays, pay attention. This is a very standard procedure, guys. First and foremost, when you're asked to draw 2 light rays, right, you have to identify where the focal point is. Okay, let's imagine today the focal point is here and the focal point is here. And obviously this is the optical center, right? Right. If you're asked to draw the 2 light rays, your first light ray will always be parallel against your principal axis, and it will hit exactly the normal here. Once it hits the normal, your light ray will bend and it will cut through the focal point immediately here. Okay, it must cut through the focal point immediately here. This is your first light ray. Your second light ray will look something like this. Oh God, let me use a different color. Your second light ray will yet again start from the tip of the object and it will cut through the optical center exactly somewhere around here. Oh God. Okay, I drew it. Maybe I drew it a bit too long, but guys, once you have these two light rays intersecting, right, this is exactly where your image is going to be. Okay, now based on the characteristics of the image, right, you know, just now I said it could be either real, virtual, upright, magnified, diminished, or sorry, real, virtual, upright, inverted, magnified, or diminished, right? You're supposed to compare the object with the image. Let's start off with whether it is real or virtual. Guys, if you remember from the chapters previously from a few weeks ago, you know, like how an image formed in the mirror is always going to be virtual because no real light is entering, right? For those who have forgotten, let's imagine this is the mirror, you know, this is the object. The light rays will have gone like this, right? Oh shit. It will gone like this, right? And then you will have virtual light going in, and this image is said to be virtual, right? This image is virtual because it is formed by virtual light, okay? But looking at this image here, can you see that this is real light and this is real light as well? So from here, this image is for sure real, okay? It is, if it is formed by real light, it will be real, okay? Then is this magnified or diminished? You check the size of the image and the object. The object was originally this high or this tall, right? Then this image is this long. Looking at it, it seems like it's bigger than the object, right? So your second characteristics is it will be magnified. Okay. Then finally, the last part, is it upright or inverted? You see here, the object initially is pointing upright. Right now, the image is pointing down. So it's upside down already, right? If it is upside down, then naturally it will be inverted instead. And these are the three characteristics formed by the image. Okay. If you look back at the things that the things that I showed you just now, guys, the images that I showed you, you can see that the first three diagrams that I showed you, essentially all of them behave the same way. You'll see that all of them are going to behave the same way. And let's see. Okay, let me pull this here. Oops. Oh God. Yeah. Okay. You see this tree here? All of them are going to behave the same way. They will still go straight, cut through the focal point, cut through the optical center. This is the image. They'll go straight, cut through the focal point, cut through the optical center. This is the image. Go straight, cut through the focal point, cut through the optical center, and this will be the image here. Okay, so all of these are going to behave the same way, like the first one I drew. Like the first one I drew here, right? But the second one, the last one now will be very, very different, which is the most famous question in your IGCSEs. Guys, this one here are usually used for magnifying glass. For everyone who has ever played with a magnifying glass before, obviously whatever you see from the magnifying glass is going to be bigger or smaller. It's definitely going to be bigger, right? It wouldn't be much of a magnifying glass if the damn image is smaller than the original thing, right? So if you understand the concept that a magnifying glass is supposed to enlarge the object, how will the light rays behave in a magnifying glass? It will be the exact same thing as well. But okay, so let's say imagine today I have the parameters here again. This is my what's called principal axis, and then this is my lens. This is my normal, and then this is my focal point here, and this is my focal point here. Let's say the first condition, very important, always ask in the exam, guys. The first condition for anything for any lens to behave like a magnifying glass is that the object must be placed in between the focal point and the optical center. Must. Meaning to say, if you put it here, you are wrong. You put it here, you are wrong. You put it here, you are wrong. It must be placed in between the focal point and the optical center here. First condition. And then the second condition is that when you draw the light ray diagrams, same thing. It will be the exact same thing. Your first light ray will go straight, right? And then it will cut through the optical center here. Okay, your second light ray will cut through the what did I say just now? Your first light ray will cut through the focal point, your second light ray will cut through the optical center. And here is the first problem. You notice that, how come these two light rays are diverging away? They're supposed to converge, right? But right now they are diverging away. If they are diverging away, it means to say your image will not be produced here. It won't, okay? So if your image is not going to be produced here, and you know for a fact that the image can only be produced when the light rays converge, right? So what you're supposed to, what you're expected to do is, you're supposed to draw dotted light rays towards the back here. Okay, I mean, it's supposed to be one straight line against this, guys, and you're supposed to draw dotted light rays backwards here, okay, indicating that this is virtual light. Then you're supposed to draw your dotted light rays here as well. Wherever these two dotted light rays converge, this is essentially where your image will be formed. Okay, this is essentially where your image will be formed. Looking at this scenario here, is it real or virtual, guys? It is definitely virtual because it is formed by virtual, it is formed by virtual light here, right? These dotted lines indicate that they are virtual light. It is definitely magnified because it wouldn't be a magnifying glass if it was anything else, right? And last one here, it is definitely upright. Because originally it was pointing up. Right now, the image is pointing upwards as well. Anyone don't know what I'm talking about? This is very, very important. Like this magnifying glass, I tell you, I say this to all the classes as well. A magnifying glass will be asked at least 5 out of 10 of the 5 or 6 times out of the lens questions. You need to know how the magnifying glass works. Okay, anyone? Anyone's got any questions from this part here? No questions? Sure? Good, excellent, just what I like. So if you look back here into a nicer drawing, right, this is obviously computer generated, right? And it'll look nicer. If you look at the first 3 drawings here, guys, you'll notice that actually all of them, the light rays are going to be the same. The only difference is that the object is placed in different positions here. This object is placed beyond the 2F. This object is placed exactly on the 2F, and this object is placed in between the 2F and the F here. Guys, by the way, for those who are confused, 2F is just means to say double the focal length. So if let's say I say that the original focal length is like 3 cm, right? Double the focal length means to say it's going to be like 6 cm. It's just double the focal length. That's why it's 2F here. Okay. So depending on where the object is going to be placed, the lens will behave differently as well. For example, if you place it beyond 2F, this is usually where our camera and eyes kick in, right? You'll see that the image, if you have your camera, right, and you try to, for those who went to the Billie Eilish concert, right, you'll see that the guy is damn small inside the lens, right? Inside the camera, right? It's because anything that is captured in the camera, the image is supposed to be much smaller, guys. And by right, all images are supposed to be inverted, including our eyes, but our brain and our camera processor actually processes the image so that it seems upright to us, okay? The processor in our brain works the same way as the processor in your camera. That's why your world is not upside down. Meaning to say, this is a possibility, but don't take my word for it. If you have a serious head trauma and somehow your brain loses the capability to process the image, your world might just turn upside down. For Gilbert here, he has definitely done that, not to his head lah. He's not full retarded yet, right? He has once used a camera to throw at something when he was very young, right? And the next time he turned on his camera, right, he said, hey, how come everything is upside down already? It's because the processor inside was up already, right? Then everything else will be upside down already. It could happen to your head as well if you go through a very bad trauma, head trauma, right? But yeah, this is essentially what's happening. Okay, then after that, if you place an object exactly on 2F here, what's going to happen is this is exactly what's happening to the photocopying machines. You'll notice that the image produced will exactly be the same size basically our printers outside lah, you know, like a photostat machine, if you print whatever documents, it will be the exact same size, exact same copy, right? It's because the lens and the object will always be placed whole 2F on the 2F, sorry, it will be placed on the 2F. Then whatever image produced will be exactly on the 2F as well, making it the same size. If you place it somewhere in between here, your image will be much larger. But if you have a magnifying glass, which is the most important one of them all, you must place it in between the F and optical center. Very, 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 very important. Most of the questions will be with magnifying glass. So you must be very, 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 very well versed with the magnifying glass. So same thing, go straight, cut through the focal point, cut through the optical center. You realize that, oh shit, the light rays are diverging away. So you have to draw dotted lines here and find where the light rays meet. That will be essentially where your image is formed. Okay, and yeah, these are essentially all things you need. So, any questions with this part here? If you have no questions, today is drawing day, guys. If you flip to the next page here, do you see these 4 empty long boxes? Guess what we're gonna do with these 4 empty long boxes? You're gonna start drawing right now, guys, but you're gonna follow my parameters. Guys, listen up very closely. This is your instruction for the next 4 of it, guys. First and foremost, on the first box, you're supposed to draw a principal axis here, right? Then you're supposed to draw your lens exactly in the middle and just straight away draw the normal first. Hey, everyone, pay attention first. Please don't draw, pay attention first, right? I will write down everything here. From here, you're supposed to label this as your optical center, right? And I want you to measure exactly 3 cm away. You don't have to include this double arrow. It's just for you to do it yourself. Measure exactly 3 cm away and write this as your focal point. Measure 3 cm away and write this as your focal point here, right? Then measure another 3 cm away and say that this is your 2F and this is yet again another 3 cm away and this is your 2F here. The first image, the first object I want you to draw is basically this one here. It must be placed beyond your 2F, anywhere on your 2F lah, right? And your object can only be 1 cm tall. You're supposed to measure this thing here that is 1 cm tall, and you're straight away going to draw your light rays. Your light rays should look something like this. Cut through the focal point, cut through the optical center, and this is where your image is. Wherever your image is, you're going to tell me the 3 characteristics. Is it real, virtual, inverted, upright, magnified, or diminished? Okay, everyone? Anyone unclear with this instruction? This skeleton, this parameters here is supposed to be drawn exactly the same as all the other 4 boxes here. Okay. Everyone start drawing it right now. I'll walk around and have a look. And for those who are online, if you have done the first one, please snap a photo, send it to me, and then I can see whether you're right or wrong, and I'll give some comments. Everyone start doing it right now. You have 5 minutes to draw the first one, so don't take your sweet time, guys. And follow the parameters given, because if not, everything else will be very, very messed up. You don't have to label the 3 cm, guys. The 3 cm is just an indicator for you to look at, but you must measure the 3 cm. Draw the arrow down, tell me the 3 characteristics. It seems that this 3 cm and this 3 cm is not the same. Oh, actually, it's not even the 3 cm. Okay, now I tell you what. When you draw this, right, if this one, it must be exactly parallel with this one here. So what I recommend is, right, once you have this already, right, you will draw your object with 1 cm tall. Make sure that you see this here, you align this with this line here, right? Then with this align, when you draw it upwards, for sure it will be 90 degrees here. And with this, you use this as a reference, and you're going to draw this again. And we'll do something again. You see, like this line is aligned with this line. When you align this line with this line here, for sure, when you draw like this up, it will be parallel with this one here. You got me. So, yeah. Draw this way, it doesn't look parallel. Yeah, answer that. You can where's your object lie when the parallel group. How do you know that this line will be very parallel with this line? Let me tell you what to do. Okay, you see this here. With this thing, right? Look, with this thing, you're supposed to measure 1 cm tall, right? And you draw it exactly upwards like this. And with this here, in order to make sure that this line is parallel with this line, you're supposed to use this thing here and align it exactly with this one here. You see that there is a difference here already right now. You see this now. Not finding the back of the line. Very good. Very good, Leo. That's correct already. Okay, for those who are done with the first light ray, guys, once you're done with the first light ray, right, the second, third, and fourth is basically just a difference in the position of the object only. The second one, you're supposed to place the object exactly on the 2F. The third one, you're supposed to place the object exactly in between 2F and F. And the final one, you're supposed to place it as the magnifying glass here. So the second, third, and fourth box is just rearranging your object to a different position, like I shown you for the other four important ones, the other 3 important ones. Anyone don't know what I'm talking about? I repeat this again. For the second, third, and fourth box, you're supposed to place the object exact same parameters are 3 cm and 1 cm. Just that the object will be on your 2F because you draw on this already, right? Your second box will be on the 2F, your third one will be exactly in between, and your fourth box will be in between the F and the optical center. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. All right. So looking here, exact same parameters are just that this one is 2F, the object is here, this one is 2F, and this one is F, the object is here, and then this is 2F, that F, and this optical center object is here. Okay, draw all this out. Yeah, for those who are online, you can send it to me for checking, guys, because if you draw the first one wrong, most likely you'll have a lot of it wrong as well. Oh, by the way, Leo, when you draw the normal on the lens, right, try to draw it as dotted lines. in between the F and the 2F. Very good. Draw the arrow downwards. And then tell me the 3 characteristics. Wow, Melvin, you're fast, man. You're a smart guy, man. Very good, very good. I like this kind of high efficiency phase. Good. Wow. So far. This one for sure second area is supposed to land at 2F, so what went wrong? This is not even 3, it's not even 6. Look here, it's 5.9. Then here is 3. Here is 3, here is not 3. Bloody hell. It's one of those same things, 5.8 some more. Then here is 3.1. Yeah, good enough. Good enough. Okay. Raj, let me see. Diminished, inverted, and good. Yeah, okay. Raj, I want to highlight one thing about your drawing. You know, when guys, everyone pay attention to this way. Some of you guys may do this as well. You know, when you're drawing the light rays, guys, when you draw the light rays, make sure it's like one thin continuous line. Don't like try to like sketch it, then it seems like there's more rays here. It is not acceptable in your exam. I mean, now it's just a exercise, so it doesn't care. Just take note, right? But when you're doing it in the real exam, you cannot seem like your light ray is more than one line. It must be one thin continuous line that goes all the way through. So don't like sketch and then sketch like sketch like this. Not acceptable. Okay, Raj. Yeah, but your drawing is correct already. Go on with the second, third, and fourth one.
Where is the object for the third one?
Hmm?
The third one.
In between 2F and F.萱萱，你有看那个什么哥哥吗？顶级什么哥哥？那个 China show。You know 那个中国 show 是那些旧明星回来唱歌的。
哦。
笔记哥哥啊，what's it called？笔记的哥哥啊，what's it called？我的没有弄算了吗？没有看吗？算了。
帮我的经历。
啊？
是综艺。
啊，综艺
我说好像是啊。
好像什么鬼笔记的哥哥啊？What I can't remember the name 总之是哥哥。啊，这个什么鬼？这个字怎么样读？什么笔记损拉的哥哥啊？
叫披荆斩棘。
啊，披荆。Sorry 啦，华语不好。什么披荆斩棘啊？斩棘的哥哥。Yeah，sorry 啦，华语不好。披荆斩棘，这个你没有看啊？这个明明不适合你，too old 了那个。这些老明星，
我知道。
这些老明星你应该都不知道他们是谁。很早就有呀，我的年代就他们就在唱了。哦，这个是 Season 2啊。披荆斩棘，这个。Okay, guys. For those who are online and you still haven't done the drawing, please let me know. Guys, hey, before we end the day, because I don't want to hold you guys up, we are going to continue this part next week. It's just going to be a short part, but I want you guys to start attempting some of the questions here already, guys. You see all these questions here, right? I want you to attempt them all. And in fact, right now, looking at this question here, I want to know all of your answers for this last part here. Guys, look at 7A2. For everyone that is here, before you go, let me know your answer. Then I know whether to abuse you or not. Everyone look at this last page here and tell me your answer. Those who are online, you can send me a PM as well, guys. Let me know your answer before you end the day, guys. Look at 7A2. Which length on 7.1 is the focal length of the lens? Circle one of the length below. Before you go. Oi, before you go. 我想这 last page. Luckily, yeah. Sorry? What did you say? BD, is it? Hold on to the answer. Don't go first. Girls, what's based on the object and the image? But that's not the question. I want 7A2. You're supposed to circle either A, B, B, C, B, D, or C donkey. Leo, you're supposed to give me the answer for the last one. A, B, B, C, B donkey, or C donkey. Come here, let me abuse you a bit first. B is exactly what is this? This is the image, right? This is the optical center. What did I say just now? It is not the line from the optical center to the image. Pick another one. What's the answer? Ah, very good.
How do you know?
Wrong also. What did I say just now also? This is wrong. Why? This is the optical center, right? This is what the image, right? Is the focal length from optical center to the image. Right or not? What did I say just now? What's the definition from where to where?
Google. Body.
So, the optical center, right? Where's the focal point? Tell me. You went. Everyone's like backing off already. Alright, think about it properly. Where? Wrong again. Why? This is the object. Bro, this is the optical center. What's the definition of the focal length? From where to where? Tell me. Ah. Wow, everyone is wrong. You eh? Ah, my God. Wrong also. Alright, bloody hell. This is exactly what I told you guys not to do just now, right? Hey, last one now before we end the day. Hey, some of you guys circle BC, some of you guys circle BD, some of you guys, you dare circle C donkey, I tell you stay back for class. You dare circle C donkey, I tell you stay back. Hey, what did I tell you just now? Focal length, by definition, is supposed to be center to the focal point, right? Looking at this object here. So for those who circle BC, is this the focal point? This is definitely the optical center, right? This is not the focal point, right? So how can this be the answer? For those who circle B donkey, this is the image, right? This is definitely not the focal point again, right? So how can this be the answer? Where is the focal point? If you flip this whole thing upside down, you take the whole paper and you flip it upside down, don't you see that it's going to be like this and like this and like this here? So where is the focal point? What? Yes, it's supposed to be A and B because this is where the light ray goes straight, cut through the focal point, cut through the optical center, right? And you know, the funny thing is the guy that was sleeping halfway through actually got it right and got off straight. Yeah, it's supposed to be A, B, yeah, guys. Okay, yeah, that's it. Do all the exercises from this year, then we'll discuss the answers next week. That'll be it for today, guys. I'll see you all next week.